Hey you guys, okay, I wanted to go over really quick calendar issues that we're having, okay? So a couple of rules that I want to make sure everybody knows when it comes to the calendar. Okay, so juggling 6 residents, we have doctors that come, therapists that come, hospice agencies, home health, PT, speech, OT, nurses, chaplains, bath aides, family members, all of that stuff, doctors, hairstylists, we can have a lot going on, not to mention, then we have our Bible study on Mondays, and Charlie who comes to play, in the afternoon sometimes. So, the thing that's really important is that you guys make sure that you're not overbooking us, number one, and number two, make sure that you are writing any appointments on the calendar. Okay, now this is if you're talking to someone on the phone, or if a therapist is here. Let's say the PT is here and they're telling you, oh, I'll be back on Friday at 3. Make sure you write that down so that whoever works on Friday knows they'll be here and it doesn't cause complications. Because what if OT is coming at 3 on Friday and they tell you, oh, I'll be back Friday at 3? Well, now that patient is double booked. You need to make sure you're checking it and letting them know if that's going to work for us. Okay, so it's super important to be on top of the calendar. Also, if someone shows up on your shift and they are not on the calendar, you need to add them to it. Even if they're already here, it doesn't matter. This is for record keeping. This tells us who was in and out of our home, not just on your report, but this calendar is saved for 7 years. So, a year from now, I want to know who was here. So even if the appointment, is already here or whatever, still add it to the calendar. And make sure you're using initials for the residents. Let's go over the rules, okay? Because this is posted on the wall where everyone can see, we have to make sure that we're respecting privacy rights for the residents, okay? So we cannot write residents' names on the calendar. We can write their initials, but we cannot write out their name, okay? Now, you can write the name of the person who's coming, or the family member, the doctor's name. You could put anybody else's name. You just can't put the resident's name, okay? So that's rule number 1. No names when it comes to the residents, only initials. The other rule is that when you are scheduling anybody, I don't care who it is, I don't care if it's the effing president of the United States, they don't come during mealtime, okay? Meals are off limits. So from number 1, you have from 10 a.m., because that's what time breakfast gets over. Some of the residents take an hour to eat, or you could be running a little bit behind schedule or whatever. So breakfast is at 9. Do not make appointments till 10 a.m. So the first appointment of the day should not ever be before 10 a.m. Okay? 10 a.m. and then the last appointment you schedule, the latest one that anyone can have, is 4 p.m. Okay? So if you have physical therapy coming and they want the last appointment of the day, you can tell them, okay, you can take the 4 o'clock slot. That means that they take about 45 minutes to an hour. So that means that they will be finishing up just in time for that patient or that resident to eat, okay, eat their dinner. So they cannot make an appointment at 4:30 because that will go into mealtime. So the latest you can schedule an appointment for is 4 o'clock for the appointment to start, okay? Nothing can start after 4. It's okay if it goes on after 4, but do not start an appointment after 4. Make sense? Okay, so you have a window every day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We do not have any appointments during dinner or after dinner. Okay, we have sundowners here. This is a home for dementia. We do not schedule things in the evening. Our folks are too exhausted, they're confused, they're most of them are wanting to go to bed right after dinner. It is too chaotic for any appointments to be made after dinner. Okay, the other thing you need to make sure you are not telling professionals that you will feed a resident before their mealtime or after their mealtime or anything like that for their appointment. Those professionals are supposed to be catering to our residents. We do not make our residents cater to them. Okay? Our residents eat at their scheduled meal time. You do not change that. The only time that happens is if family members have to take them out of the facility and they need us to feed them before they go. So maybe they're just going to have a sandwich instead of having, the roast that you made for lunch. They're just going to have a sandwich or a bowl of soup before the meal because they've got to go somewhere. That's okay. But we do not make our residents eat sandwiches because PT wants to come during a meal. Absolutely not. So they need to work around our residents. So do not make appointments before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. and do not schedule anybody during lunch. Okay? So from 12 to 1 or 12:30 to 1, 12:30 to 1:30, give an hour long for lunch. So lunch starts at 12:30. So from 12:30 to 1:30, do not schedule professionals to come. Tell them, I'm sorry, that is during lunch. You will have to come before or after that time. Okay? The other thing you do not do is double book. Okay, now when I say double book, that does not mean that Myrna's PT can't come because Rose is going out with her daughter. Okay, the two aren't related. What I mean by don't double book is don't have Myrna's PT coming when her OT is coming. Or don't have, Susie's hospice nurse come when the bath aid's already on the schedule for that time. Make sense? Now, if you have, say you have Susie's nurse is coming at 11 and let's say John's PT wants to come at 11. Let them know I have a commitment, I, the caregiver, have a commitment at that time. You're welcome to come if you will not need me. But if you need me, we need to change the time. I can do 11:30 if you're going to need my time and attention, or if you're going to need me to help assist you with the resident. Okay, that you need to let them know. Or if they're trying to schedule it and it's going to be, say it's going to be Bella's day, okay, and you see that Bella already has an 11 o'clock appointment for Linda's nurse. Okay, well, now John's PT wants to come at that time too. Let them know Bella already has a commitment, our caregiver. So if you don't need her assistance, I can put you at that time, but she already has someone coming for another resident and she needs to be present for that meeting. So if you'd like to come and you don't need the caregiver, sure, I'll put you on the calendar. Make sure you let them know that, because I don't want them trying to run my staff and make my staff tend to whatever they've got going on when we've already let them know, hey, we've got something else going on at that time. I don't want staff getting pulled in two different directions or missing out on information with so-and-so's nurse because, someone's speech therapist is here and, wants them to do all the transfers. absolutely not okay. So only double book 2 appointments at the same time if they tell you that they will not need caregiver assistance. If they do need caregiver assistance, then they need to spread it 30 minutes apart from each other. So if the nurse is coming at 11, let them know they can come at 11:30. Okay, you should have gotten most of the information you need from the nurse by that time. And then you can give them your attention when they get here at 11:30. Does that make sense? Okay, if you guys don't understand, if I'm not explaining this well, I'm not saying like you guys don't. I sometimes things make sense in my head and they don't make sense when they come out my mouth. So let me know if you know you need me to explain better. Also, when it comes to the calendar, make sure that you are not letting it's okay if a family member is already someone who writes on the calendar. They're just doing it. I don't want you to like be like, you can't do that. But you guys need to be the ones writing things on the calendar. Okay? It is far more important that you do it. So don't just, oh, go write it on the calendar. Don't tell them to do that. Now, if they're doing it, you know, you don't need to be rude and make a big deal out of it if they did it on their own. But I want the staff writing things down. I do not want families writing things down. It's not their job. They don't get a paycheck like you guys do for keeping track of this calendar. That's your job, not theirs. So make sure you're doing your job. They let you know when they call, or they let you know when they come by that something's happening. You need to write it on the calendar, and you need to let them know if there's a conflict. Okay? They're not going to know better. They don't know that they can't write names. They don't know all the rules. You do. You need to make sure that you are doing it. Okay? No family members writing on here unless they did it without your knowledge. You know, if they're like, oh, I got to put something on the calendar, you'd be like, oh, I'll take care of it for you. What do you need me to put on there? You know, if they insist on it, that's fine. But like I said, you guys should be the ones doing it, because you're going to have to go behind them. You're going to have to verify all the information, and you're going to have to make sure that it's not a problem. I'd rather you do all that before they write on it. Then we got to scribble all over the calendar. And that's a pain in the butt, because then and sometimes they write so big, there's no room for people to add things on there. So please make sure you're the ones doing the calendar. Now, if you guys have any questions about it, let me know. If there's any topics about the calendar that I didn't bring up, then make sure we talk about that at the staff meeting. Okay, make sure you bring it up at the staff meeting so we can address any other issues. All right. Well, thanks you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.